I was diagnosed at a point in the time, 2005, when reconstruction wasn't an option in the province. I don't think it was being offered. It was never offered to me. But it was something that I thought about doing later, and I asked to be referred to the plastic surgeons. And my doctor made the referral, and the way I never actually got to see them because what I was offered was somewhat different. I received a phone call at work on a Tuesday offering me the surgery on a Thursday. Twice that happened, at what point I asked them to please remove my name from their list because I didn't really think that that was the way I wanted to go about it. I thought I would like to see a surgeon first of all to see if I was a candidate, and that was my experience. But
did you have very much information about the actual surgery?
Nothing. I just wanted to speak to somebody about the surgery, and I didn't know. I know personally of one person who had had it, and you know, I was comfortable with the prosthesis that I had, but I wanted to hear my other option, and I think that's so important that women are given all the options that are available to them. And like we talked about in a timely manner, you have so much to deal with at that point that you want.
After my initial diagnosis, the surgeon actually set up an appointment with a plastic surgeon, the surgeon who was doing my breast or my mastectomy. She actually set up an appointment with a plastic surgeon without really consulting with me. It was just here, you know, go see this fellow, and there were no other options presented at the time. And I guess it was probably a week before the appointment that I canceled it. Not quite sure at the time because I really didn't know what kind of information he was going to present to me. And then after my surgery, I was just sort of on my own to go and seek out resources. And I just happened to stumble across somebody at one of the clinics who pointed me in the right direction. And I mean, I was just scrambling. I mean, I didn't know what I was looking for. I didn't know where I was going. I mean, I didn't have a whole lot of experience at the time with other people who had had surgery. I mean, certainly they came shortly after I did with people who were close to me, but at the time I really didn't have any resources to go to.
In my case, they were really offering me the option of having my mastectomy and having the reconstruction at the same time, which certainly from some perspectives would seem to be ideal. However, I knew that I would be facing chemotherapy at minimum and possibly radiation. And I also, being a nurse, I happened to know that this was a fairly significant major surgery, and so I needed right away to consider the option of having a major surgery right before I had chemotherapy. So that was certainly another factor that I thought a lot about.
I think there's a real need at diagnosis for women to be given written information. It can't be verbal. You have so much information to deal with, and you're overwhelmed, and you don't always make that decision at that point. You need reference material to go back to. So I really think it's important that women are given the options of where prosthetic devices are available to them, and also when they can be fitted with them. At what time frame in their treatment are those prostheses available to them?
I think if they can compile a standardized package of information that they provide to women, so that you can take that home with you, you can go through it, it can certainly guide you through on, you know, the different websites and stuff like that, so you can see pictures, but I think there needs to be a standard package. It's knowing what's going to happen after the surgery, because I know for myself, I mean, I got all the information after the surgery, but for my own self, I just kept thinking, okay, what am I going to do? Like, maybe I can go to the store and get a really, really, really padded bra. Like, how am I going to go out? Like, how am I going to, and those things mean a lot to you. I mean, it's winter time, nobody sees, but it means a lot to you, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, what am I going to do? Okay, how am I going to go grocery shopping? Okay, well, maybe I can do this, and, you know, because you don't even know what's really available to you, and you're going through the surgery, and
it's one of the many things you're facing at that point in time.
Right. And I think it would be also helpful together with that package of information if there were, you know, contact names and numbers so that somebody could walk you through it all. And that they're giving you the same information. They're, you know, they're using that package to really guide you through some decision making and some choices that you have.
I think it helped me feel a little bit more in control of the situation, and that I had a plan and I had an approach. And I guess there was a sense when I had the cast made, it didn't make me feel sad. It made me feel as if I was preserving maybe some part of me. And I had to go through that process of realizing that I was going to lose a breast, and I had to put it in its perspective, that this was important to save my life, but obviously there is the emotional attachment. But there was a strange sense of comfort in having that mold made of the way I have it, the way I was, I guess. And also I was very aware that it would help in future, as after my surgery. And I guess it helped me to just put the thoughts of what I was going to do in the future aside and just go on with the surgery. So in that sense, it was also helpful to me.
I think by casting prior to your surgery, it puts you in control. You know what's going to happen, as opposed to having the surgery and then just coming home and going, okay, now what? Like, what do I do? At least you know what's going to happen. Your fairly immediate future is not a mystery to you.
Right.
Like, it's very important.
And I think also,
peace of mind.
Sorry, I think also you're looking at, I thought, oh, well, this will be a good product because they have a mold of my body, so that what they make is going to be the same as my body is now. And, you know, I thought, once it's gone, who's going to know exactly what I'm going to be like? So that in that sense, it was a comfort too.
Yeah.
And women that have bilateral, I can only think that it would be an advantage to being precast, just for the size.
Yeah.
You'd want to.
Yes. Well, actually, I ended up having a bilateral mastectomy, but I didn't start off that way. So that I went and had the casting done before my first mastectomy, and then I didn't have to do it for the second. But again, it was very helpful from the perspective of a single and then a double mastectomy, for sure.
Yeah.
The fluffy, what's the fluffy? It's just this like fiber-filled little square or round of material, and when I received it, I kind of thought to myself, well, what is this? Like it was almost, maybe demeaning is too strong of a word, but it was just, it made you feel kind of really insignificant or something. I can't find the right word, but I thought to myself, like, what is this? And I did. I did find a bra that had lots and lots and lots of padding, and then I wore loose clothing over, because I just like, what do you do with this thing? Like, whoever came up with that?
In our family, it provided hours of entertainment because I had two teenage children at the time, and we had quite the laugh over Fluffy. We couldn't believe that Fluffy actually existed, and actually the first year we walked in the breast cancer walk, our team was Friends of Fluffy. That was the name. So there has to be something better than Fluffy. There has to be an alternative to that. I'm not sure what it is, but...
And I think the surgery too is a bit of a mystique. I think that people who have gone through the surgery and who've had experiences oftentimes are in a very good place to tell people, no, actually you can put a prosthesis on over your incision as long as you're not having a problem with your incision. And these things probably haven't been explored before, but they're very possible. There are lots of things that you can do right from day one to take charge.
Also, I would not have survived this without my family and friends, my husband and my children, and you have to have a fantastic sense of humor. If you didn't have one before, you better find one, because if you can't laugh at yourself and at this, I don't know what happens to you. You have to laugh.
I couldn't agree with her more. Yeah, a good support network and sense of humor.
Yeah.
And finding the humor in the most obscure, dark places sometimes, right? And just turning it around and laughing at yourself.
I watched reruns of Everybody Loves Raymond for a year because it made me laugh. And I found I couldn't watch shows like ER or things like that. You had to search out the humor, and you had to find it, and that's what gets you through it.
You have to laugh at yourself about your missing boob, or even when I had when
Can't take yourself too seriously.
No, even when I had chemo and I lost all my hair, my husband called me a cue ball. He called my head. So you know, you have to laugh, right? You have to find some. It's part of life.
Yeah. Yeah. And life goes on.
You do manage to get through it.
Yes.
Although
Life
there are
does
times
go on.
when you wonder.
Yeah. But you know what? You also have to think to yourself, I'm going through all of this, or I'm going through so much right now, I need to start to live my life too.
Yes.
I mean, otherwise, why did I bother to do this? Like, if you can't move on and go on with life, why did you bother going through everything that you did?
Yes.
So,
Right.
Right.
And don't you find that you're a little bit more to strip away some of the niceties or the social necessities and get right to the heart of things now a little
No
more?
regrets and no delays.
Exactly. Something
Don't waste time
I
here.
don't
Don't waste
tolerate
time.
some things that I used to tolerate.
That's right.
You know, some people in my life that are negatives
Oh,
are not
I
there
agree.
now.
I think it's really important to be able to wear what you've always worn before, to have a huge selection of items and not be restricted by what it might show or what it might not show, because my own personal experience was going into a store and seeing something that I really liked and I put it on, and well, it might have showed a little bit too much, or when I leaned over, and I got so angry and I walked out of the store. But now, obviously, you learn to accommodate for certain things, but for the most part, with a custom prosthesis, there's not a whole lot of accommodation that you have to
true.
make. Like, you just don't. And you know, when you're trying to look at maybe some tips for what you can wear and not wear, and I often think to myself, well, at this point now, I can wear like whatever.
Yes.
And whether or not, I mean, I was never one to show tons and tons of cleavage anyhow. Not that I ever had tons and tons of cleavage, right? So, so that was not who I was then. And it's not who I'm going to be now. So, I mean, I can walk into any store and buy whatever I want.
Yeah. I think sometimes there are assumptions being made that all women would really prefer to have reconstructive surgery because women need to be very concerned about their bodies at all stages and ages. And I don't really agree with the fact that reconstructive surgery is a necessity, personally. And I think that in some senses of the word, it's part of the whole medicalization of aging. Similarly, a lot of the talk on menopause and some of the hormone replacements that are coming out, I think there's a similar viewpoint that in life as we age, that medical procedures and medicalization can help us along through the process.
That's interesting you say about even the medicalization of women going through menopause. I went into menopause early, and because of that I went on hormone HRT, I went on medication, and my oncologist told me that that's what caused my cancer. So it's interesting how they're trying to make it better. You know, with many women go through menopause. I mean, other countries, Japan, China, they go through, or India, they go through menopause without any medication. They go through it, but it seems like in North America that we have to fix it. Everything has to be fixed.
Right.
You got to look great. You got to be thin. You've got to have no wrinkles. We have to have, you know, the perfect teeth.
Yes.
Right? We've got to be beautiful, and it's like that shouldn't be. Why can't we age gracefully?
And is that pressure from the medical establishment to
Or society.
Society.
I think it's our society. Our society, it's like youth. It's always that. It's youth. And even look at our young kids.
Right.
Yes.
Look at our young girls. They're 12 years old, 13 years old. They're wearing camisoles. They're wearing little bras, push-up bras, and they're 12 years old.
Sexualization of
right.
it.
Yes.
So it starts, I mean, it's societal, and it puts pressure on older women like us to try to look good as well. We'll fix
When
it.
don't you think that you should be becoming more comfortable with yourself as you age? Like, I
Yes.
think that's aging gracefully. I'm grateful for a card and a little pamphlet of information that I received in a huge stack of information when I was diagnosed. And that card and that pamphlet was for Life Art Prosthetics and for Wendy. And I found that pamphlet and that information much later after my surgery and called Wendy, and she was able to fit me with a custom prosthesis that I think changed my life in many ways. It gave me confidence again, something that I had lost through this whole thing, and as I said, I'm grateful for it.
When I had received my prosthesis from Wendy, she had given me 2 of them. I had a smaller one, I guess when I had lost some weight from when I was going through chemo, and then I had a larger one. But I remember we had a family gathering. One of my sisters has come in from Calgary, and we were visiting at my mom's, and I was ecstatic that I had this prosthetic, this breast prosthesis. I was wearing it, and I brought the other one in a box, and I brought it over, and I showed it to my mom. All the girls, we went to my mom's bedroom, and we looked at everybody was touching, and it had a tattoo. I had a tattoo. Oh, did you? I had a heart tattoo on it, and Wendy had even I asked her to put a cross, like a little cross on it, and it was so exciting. It was hopeful. It was sharing with my mom and my sisters. It was a great experience. So yeah, life art.
I took my little purple box.
Yeah, mine too is purple.
And I took it to work with me. I picked it up and I went straight to work, and I had left it in the box, and I took it to work with me, and I was so excited, like I was beyond excited. And I brought a couple of people into my office that I'd worked with, and we've worked together for a very long time. And I said, "Oh, you guys want to see my boob?"
Yeah.
And I pulled it out, and they're running through the office, go down the hall, she's flashing her boobs. I was just so excited, and people are just amazed. It was just, and I think just the response also that I got from the people that I work with was really reinforcing to me.
We live in a land of unparalleled opportunity, and I hope that every woman faced with this choice reaches inside themselves and makes the decision that is really best for them, knowing all of the options that are available for them.
And I also think that women should know that having a cancer diagnosis, even though it is extremely traumatic, it is very frightening, you can survive this.
Yes.
You can survive this. You can get past this. And that's really important to know.